All right, today we're going to take a look at lab number 9, show you how we're going to do that. So we're just going to we're just going to go to the website here, log into Canvas, go to our class, go to modules, and once we go to modules, and we're going to scroll down here to the week we're in. And we're going to click on lab number 9. Okay, so basically for this assignment, you're going to create a quantity takeoff sheet, bill of materials, a pricing and labor sheet, summary sheet showing the total cost of materials and so forth. Again, the plans are online, and I also gave you the Excel spreadsheet where to start. So if we click on the Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to open that up. And you can see that there's 2 tabs on here. So tab 1, sheet 2. We go to sheet 1. We scroll up here. This is the quantity takeoffs that I took off from here. Again, we're going to go look at the plans here in a minute, and we'll show you on the plans what rooms we're doing and where we're getting these numbers from. But you can see here, B's we had 14, BE's we had 3, H lights, we had 6. We'll see that's actually an error. We'll show you it's only 5 here in a minute. So there's a couple errors in here. You're going to just go through, double check my numbers, and then you're going to, these are what we're taking off. And then over here is how we're going to build the assembly, whatever it might be. So for the light fixtures, if we were able to look in the room, which we can't because we're doing this remotely, we'd see that above every one of the light fixtures, there's a 4x4 box mounted there that the whip from the light goes and connects to. So we're going to add our 4x4 box, one for every light fixture. And then typically, we generally add 2 connectors to each box. That's just kind of standard. Some boxes will have 1, some will have 2, some will have 3 or 4. And so we usually just add 2 per box because that's the typical standard for our connectors. Okay. Next, then we would add any rings or plates or whatever it might be. Well, the boxes above the lighting fixtures just get the whips put in them, and then they just get a blank cover. So right here you can see I got covers blank, 14 of them to go along with our 14 boxes for 14 light fixtures. Okay. If we look at something like the occupancy sensor here, there's 4 of them. We used 4 boxes, and we used 8 connectors. In this case, we would actually have to add, you can see squared around here, occupancy sensors typically get mounted in a round or an octagonal box. We're mounting them in a 4 square box, and so we're going to have to add our 4 squared around rings. Got to click Enable Edit here. And scroll back up, and then we're going to go occupancy sensors. We would add 4 squared around rings, okay, because that's what we'd need. Again, we wouldn't need anything else along here. If we go to our duplex receptacles, okay, so there's 9 duplex receptacles. We're going to need 9 4 square boxes to put them in. We're going to need 18 connectors. We come across here. We're going to need 2 gang ring. Well, a ring is a device that we mount on the box that allows us, it has the screw pattern to add our devices, either our switches or outlets. And so a 1 gang ring would have the screws mounted in the center and come in so that only 1 device would mount. A 2 gang ring is going to have a double set of screws so we can mount 2 devices next to each other, and then a regular cover would fit on it. Okay. We can see that we got 18 duplex receptacles, and then we're going to get 9 metal plate covers that will go over these outlets, basically double duplex receptacle covers that would go on those. All right, so that's kind of how you build your assembly or what it takes to mount these devices. This is the device we take off over here. This is what it takes to mount that device, okay? And if you looked at the estimating lab, they kind of talked about that. How do you build the assembly that you need to take off? Now, if we're doing this in AccuBid, we would simply choose a duplex receptacle, and we would choose one that was either um, surface mount or flush mount, and then the assembly would already be built in there. Okay? It already has them built in with the pricing and the time and all of that. Um, so now down here, you're going to take these quantities, and then these quantities across the bottom are all of the 4 square boxes added up, all the 5 gang boxes, connectors, and so forth. And we're going to take all these quantities across the bottom, these quantities right here, and we're going to move them over to sheet 2. And so you can see boxes, oh, we had a quantity of 77, so we're going to add 77 here. And then once we've added 77 there, now we need to do the extended cost. And again, if you looked in the estimating lecture, it talked about this. If 100 boxes cost $53.70, how much will 77 boxes cost? Well, we're simply going to put a formula here that says equals 77. So we're going to click on here, times the cost. So times our cost divided by whatever our units was, 100 units, enter. And so we can see that 100 boxes cost $53.70, 77 boxes is going to cost $41.35. Okay, so that's how you're going to do those. And then we would simply add that column there, and that would give us our total cost. So we're going to right click here, click on auto sum, take in auto sum. I'm auto sum. You'll love it when stuff doesn't work. Okay. Escape. Yeah, well, auto sum didn't work. So anyway, we're going to sum those columns here. Auto sum. Come on. There we go. Take my auto sum right there, hit enter. And so far it's going to sum that I've only done one, $41.30. Okay. So that's how we would get our total cost, material cost for the project. This one here would be your total material cost for the project. Now, for the hours, we're going to take and we're going to look up metal boxes over in our labor unit rate manual. But first of all, let's go look and download the plans here real quick. So we're just going to close this real quick or just minimize it. Come over here, if you go to modules and you scroll all the way down, here's our labor rate manual. That's where we're going to look up the labor rates. Right here's our pre-con electrical drawing plans. We're going to download those and we'll open those up. Okay. And we're going to go to 2.01. So 2.01. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Where did my plus go? Okay. We're only going to do what we're doing for estimate. We're going to stay right here. We're going to do 122 lecture hall, the 122A mechanical room, and the 123 tool room. The only exception is we're going to go ahead and do this light right here that's on the outside. So basically, we're going to do this section right here. We're going to do a quantity takeoff just on that section. We're not going to do the whole building. That's a little too tedious for what we want to do. And so we're going to do a takeoff on it. So we're basically, you're going to count the number of lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That jives with the number I got. 1, 2. That jives with the number of BEs I got. Okay. Where I made the error is I did not zoom in enough on this H light you look at this H light, that actually says 20 feet. I thought it said 24 feet, but it says 20. If we zoom in a little further, we can see that actually says 20 feet. Well, a typical 4-foot fluorescent lights, or 4-foot fluorescent lights typically come in 4-foot sections now, especially T8 lights. And so we're going to have 5 H's that we're going to bolt together end to end and then put the valance on. Okay. And so we would have 5 H's instead of 6. I had 6 originally in there. Okay. Single pole switches. We got 5 of them right here. 5 single pole switches there. We got another single pole switch here. One there. Another one in here. So we can get the number of switches that we need. Okay. Occupancy sensors. Again, 1, 2, 3, and then I think there's one over in the other room there. Or one there. So that's where I got 4 from. Again, you're going to just take and add those up. Now, how are you going to do the conduit? Well, you're simply going to trace these out. You can either do it in, you're going to print the sheet out, use the guide right down here, scale, just use a sheet of paper, and you're simply going to take and put some marks on your paper, lay it on here, and then mark it out on that bottom guide. When we're zoomed in here, mark it out on this bottom guide here, and you can count and get a rough estimate of how many feet of conduit. Again, the feet I got are fairly accurate, not great. I did it in about 15 minutes using my roller wheel on the actual plans. Okay, so if you want to just use my conduit numbers, you can. But I'd like you to at least double check some of it, okay? Let's go to the next sheet. We're going to go down to sheet 3 point something. All right, so this one is 3.01, and this is going to be our power plan. The other one was our lighting plan. Again, I'll go minus a little bit here since we're not trying to read that. And we're going to, again, only going to do 123, 122A, and 122 along with the light on the outside, which is not on this one. We're not going to worry about transformer because if we look at note 2, the transform the meter provided by CSU. We're not going to worry about relocating telecom. We're not going to worry about any of that stuff. We're not going to worry about the stuff that already exists. The dash lines is for already existing, so the fire stuff exists. Here, if we look at the notes, notes 7 and 8 here, and we go over and look at the notes, we can see that 7 and 8 wants us to provide a pull string for future power at the end of the stadium. 8 wants us to provide 1-inch conduit with a pulling string for future teledatacom. Okay. Well, anytime you have a pull string, we consider that zero circuit conduit. Okay. So when you see in my Excel spreadsheet zero circuit conduit, that's what it's referring to. Conduit that just simply has a pull string in it and no wire. Okay. And so you would do a takeoff on here. Okay. Basically count or add things up. Now, if we notice the main distribution panel and MDP and LP3, they already exist, and all we had to do was move them from their existing location to here. So typically when we do labor for anything that we move that's a relocate or a remodel, we're going to double the labor hours for those. Okay, so when we look those labor hours up, we would double them. Okay, so we'll show you how to look at those labor rates here in just a minute. Okay, so that's the sections we're taking off. This spot right there, okay, 123, 122A, 122, and we catch that one light, that in light that was on the sheet 2.01. Okay, not going to do the whole building. Okay. All right, hopefully that's good on the plans. All right, let's jump into, let's go back to our modules. Let's look at how I would look up the hours. Okay, so we know how to do the cost. It was in the Excel spreadsheet. All you got to do is count and then multiply by the cost. If I want to take the hours, how long it takes to install something, then I'm going to come in here to my labor rate manual. We're going to just download section 2 for now. We're going to download this one. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to zoom it just a little bit, and then we're going to scroll down here. We're going to scroll down, and we can see that we get into our conduit. Now, there's 3 different ratings. There's normal, difficult, and very difficult. For this particular assignment, we're going to stay in normal, okay? There's also something called units. We have C's, E's, and M's. C's, this is for 100, or Roman numeral for 100. E stands for each, so that is 1. So we substitute 100 in for C. We substitute 1 in for each. And when we get into the wire and stuff, you'll see there'll be an M. That stands for 1,000. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm looking, first of all, I'm going to look for my 4 square boxes. So I come down here and I get 4-inch square box, and it's going under the normal column. It's going to take me 30 hours to install 100 of them. Okay? So now I'm going to jump back to my Excel spreadsheet, and I come out to my metals boxes here, and I know that it's going to take 30 hours, and the unit was 100. And then my extended column, notice I got dollar signs here. Those shouldn't be dollar signs. Those should not be dollar signs. So I'm going to actually fix that real quick. I'm going to go format that. Format cells. And we just want that to be a general number. Okay. All right. And then here we're going to go equals. Oops. Shift equals, if I can hit the equal sign, and then we're going to take our quantities times our hours, which is 30, divided by our units, okay, divided by the 100 are our units. So if 100 boxes takes 30 hours, 77 boxes is going to take 23.1 hours. And then again, you're going to come down here and you're going to sum. We're going to do an auto sum. Okay, so we're going to do a sum. You can figure out how to do the auto sum. I don't know why I updated my good old thing, and it's jumping. It's not doing the auto sum like I used to think it used to do the auto sum for me. Why? I don't know. Circular reference. Auto sum. Well, I'll let you guys figure out the auto sum. I don't know why it's not jumping up like it's supposed to. Anyway, so that's where we would sum. You should get a total for the total hours, okay? Then on the third sheet, you're going to add a third sheet here, and you're going to put total material costs. You're going to put total hours. You're going to take the total hours, multiply them by whatever I said in the original assignment, in our original assignment, modules. Don't know where I have it open at. We'll find it again. I'll go to original assignment here, and we're going to multiply our hours by $65 an hour. Okay, so that's what we would do on this sheet. Total material costs, total hours times our $65 an hour would give us our total labor, and then we're going to take our total material plus our total labor, and we should get a total number for our bid. Okay. Now that's just a rough number. We haven't added any overhead or anything like that. All right, thanks. All right. Of course, the UPS package would come at the same time I'm trying to record this. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that answers a lot of your questions so far. All right. We're going to jump back over here. We're going to hit stop